Hey everybody, this is going to be pretty quick because this new noodle recipe that I make, I make it for Kelly because she's always in a bit of a, we're working and then she's in a wee bit of a rush to get to her classes, and with her language classes she doesn't want to be late. So we are going to switch the jug on, we are going to put on the frying pan up on high, take the lid off. I make these for her because, as a rule, 99.9% of the time I do not have oil, and 99.9% of the time I don't have probably these noodles, which are egg noodles. So, where do we start? Shiitakes, let's get the hot water in there. I never knew actually how to use these blooming things because I used to try and cut them up when they were all dry, and what do you think that did? Not a lot of good. They're always really chewy and horrible. I'm just going to put a lid on these shiitakes just to squash them down in the hot water, and then what I will do is I'll leave them for about, as long as I can leave them really, just to soften. They're in boiling water so they will really soften quite beautifully, and then when we come back to cutting them up, you'll see how easy they are to actually cut. Can you see over here on the frying pan, it's starting to get a fair bit of smoke on there, and that's what we want.
Do you need to turn the extractor fan on?
That's a good idea. Doesn't sound like it's on, but it is. Right, we will start off with some of this. I'm sure plenty of you have seen the sesame oil before. Get this ready to go. Now, everything of what's actually, just before I do start in there, everything I've got in here, we'll just put that up on the screen for you to be able to see. But basically it's onion and a little bit of celery, some cabbage, there's some carrots as well, which you can see, of course, that I've just got the slicer actually. It's sort of like the potato peeler that I've used. And then with the mushrooms which are in there and celery, there's also, what else did I have in there? There we go, some peppers. Always got to have some of those in there. Alrighty, let's get this in here. Stand a tablespoon and a half in there. Let's get these in. There's actually quite a bit which is going in there. Normally I start off with just putting the onions on and then the garlic and ginger, but I'm going to put that in. Oh, by the way, this is ginger juice that we've got. You might want to sort of have a look at Kelly's lemon video that we've done. Well, she's done, I didn't do it. And that's a whole lot of squeezed ginger. Squeezed ginger juice, galinga. I'm just going to put it all in there. It's very good for you. You should look it up online. Garlic. Oh, that's just, sorry, this is not the garlic one. This is actually more ginger. You want it really gingery. Ginger. Tasting.
Ginger beer.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with a bit of ginger beer in there. Our garlic that Kelly also put through the Oscar.
Can you show what colour that's gone?
Yeah. Isn't that unusual on how it's gone that colour? Garlic cloves been put through and been put through the Oscar as well, and then broken up and put in the freezer. Alright, let's start mixing some of that all in there. Maybe trim it up a bit more. So basically they are to all really, really soften. So while they are just softening a little bit more in there, I'm going to just have a look at those shiitake mushrooms. See how they're getting on over there in the hot water. Lid on for a second. And remind me, I can't just leave that cooking in there, it will burn. How are you little shiitakes doing in there? Are you ready for me? Because I'm ready for you. You have to squeeze the juice out of them, because the juice, you either use it in the cooking that you are doing, and I'll tell you what, that's blimmin' hot. What I'm doing there for you. And when you do use them, if they're not actually quite soft enough for you, I'm going to get a spoon because they're bobbing up and down there like little potatoes. If they aren't quite ready, then you cut them and you just put them back in that hot water. Look how they've all softened.
So you keep that juice.
So yes, keep that juice. It will either be used in this cooking or it gets used in my other cooking. But it's quite potent. Let's give this a little shake down. Softening up pretty quick. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit, because there's not very many flavours really in this. Like, what am I using now? There's a bit of cumin to go in there. A bit of a sprinkle. If you make your own cumin, don't use too much. Don't use a heaped teaspoon because, well, as you know, it's extremely powerful. Right, can you smell that? That's 5 spices, that one there. Yeah, nice. I'd use about that much. A little bit of a, maybe just a little bit more for luck. And because the flame's still on, oh yeah. Cayenne, you'll notice with my cooking that just about goes in everything. And so does the chilli. Just a sprinkle here, there and everywhere. Just depends on, you know, how much you like and how much you can have. That's really what it's all about. They're all going really, really good in there. I think it's time to get back to those shiitakes, give them a bit of a round up. They're softening really, really good in there. And all those flavours are all, as Jamie Oliver says, they all talk to each other. And you'll know whether they're actually ready or not, because you can sort of feel with those centres whether they're soft enough. A lot of people, if you're plant-based or if you're vegan, you want to have that sort of Thai mushroom type of oyster sauce flavour. So a lot of people, what they do is they use these to replace it. They're cutting up quite nicely, these little babies. Watch the fingers. So I won't be using all of them in there. They are quite powerful. They just taste really nice in cooking. They've got a sort of different type of texture. Okay, that's cooking pretty amazingly. I'm going to turn that on for a second. Real good stir around in there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take these out. Why am I going to take them out? Because I don't want them cooking anymore. Right.
You need your sushi.
I do, so I'm just getting Kelly to come over because there's just some things I'm just absolutely hopeless at doing in the kitchen, and one of them is cooking the noodles. Maybe that's because that's more her thing of what she loves. She likes them right. So that pot is on with some hot water. How long does it go on for? How long do you cook it for?
2 minutes.
Jeez, that's a bit long, isn't it? Let's hurry up and get these things out. There's a whole lot of little bits and pieces which have been left in there as well. They just stay in there. While Kelly's doing that, I'm actually going to cut up the rest of the shiitakes. And you've probably, if you've been watching any of our other videos, know that we've been up to all sorts of things. One of my favourite things that we've been doing when we get a little bit of spare time, and that's not really a lot, and that is measuring out the van. So can I just ask you all, can you please put your feelers out? We're from Christchurch, New Zealand. If you're watching this video and you specifically are from New Zealand, then can you please have a look out for a Mercedes Sprinter extra long wheel based, I suppose it's medium height. I'm 5'10" and a half, let's say 6 foot, something where this hairdo is going to not be squashed in the van. So can you just have a wee bit of a listen out, because that's what we want. Yes, you can get them new, but well, we're saving. Yeah, so that's what we've been doing, is measuring out the van this week, and we haven't got the van, we're just measuring out the floor. Funny, isn't it, what you do? The bed's moved here, it's moved there, the toilet's been under there, in there, the shower's been over there. I've been lying this way and this way just to make it work. The couch has been sort of from where we've had this much room to sort of this. It's really hard work, isn't it? Have any of you done this before?
Okay. My sous chef job is underway. Boil the water. Noodles, rice noodles. Into the boiling water. These came out the freezer, so just give yourself enough time to defrost them. You know, get them out the night before or something like that. Noodles into there. 2 minutes. Just make sure they're separated. There's nothing worse than noodles that clump together.
That's why Kelly's doing it, not me.
Now, what were you saying before about the vans? How many there were in New Zealand?
Actually, I don't think I actually did say how many vans are here, but what we're doing is the ones which we feel are suitable for us, and we want an automatic diesel too. Not really worried about the colour, are we?
I'm afraid America, Canada,
Canada, thanks for what she means.
If you live in America or Canada, I'm afraid you have a bit more of a selection than we do. Right now in New Zealand, there are 4 available Sprinter vans, 3 170 wheelbase and 1 extended 170 wheelbase, which is, we would love to have that one. That one, right, oh, watch the noodles. God, I've given one job in the damn kitchen. I got too excited. Okay.
They look good though. And
Now, what was I saying? Yes, right now in New Zealand there's only 4 Mercedes Sprinter vans that would be somewhat suitable for us. Shit. God's sakes.
multitasking. We're supposed to be able, females supposed to not be able to multitask.
What do I need to do? Oh, 2 minutes. There we go. Saved by the bell. Anyway, the 170 extended, they're all up in the North Island too. We're in the south, which means you've got to either fly up there to see it or, you know, get the ferry. And, alright,
And the majority of them also are manual as well. We'd really like an auto. What I'm just doing here is just putting a little bit of oil in here. Gosh, I feel really bad using that much oil. But anyway, Kelly can tolerate it.
Noodles going from the hot water into the cold. I'll be back in a second.
Kelly doesn't need to worry about cholesterol or triglycerides or any of those sorts of things. And so with the tiny amount of oil that she has sort of once every so often, what does it matter with a little bit of extra oil or even an egg, which is about to go in here for her. So anyway, I'm just going to chop that, pop that in there.
Right, they've gone into the cold.
Excusez-moi.
Should I drain them now?
Yeah, no, that'd be good actually. This little funny little thing here is my most favourite little tool, apart from my knives of course, in the kitchen. Actually, my dad used to, when we were children, use this, helping mum in the kitchen. Of course the handle which was on there is broken off now, but it's just perfect. And I've never seen one so strong, and just with that little piece on there to help get in the frying pan. So I'm just breaking that up with a little bit of egg in there for Kelly to put on top.
My job here is done. This one?
I think just about so. I will just put the egg in there. And leave that straight away. Put all those other delicious things, little flavours in there. It's one thing I have to do is I always have to make anything for Kelly, but I'll make sure it's got plenty of flavour. And when I first started off choosing to be plant-based, I had to be enticing her, didn't I? With flavour. Right, has that been through the cold water?
It has.
Fabulous. Here we go. Some more oil. Let's get it hot. Let's get it going on. Oh, see, I'm not used to coconut oil. Horrible stuff. Yeah! Give that a good swish around, shall we? The other thing I'm about to put in there is my amino acids, in other words salt, but good salt, some more other salt, soya sauce. I can smell the salt on that thing. The thing is keeping it going. You don't want it gluggy, otherwise you get into trouble with those that you're making it for. Doesn't matter about it sticking through the sides there or anything, it just all adds to the flavour. Oh, it's getting hot in the kitchen. Here we go, there's the vegetables that we cooked a moment ago. Let's get them all in there. Keep it stirring. Keep it going on. Yep. Just remember the vegetables have got the other flavours and everything in there. Right, I have just turned the gas off, and Notice how good they look. They are not clumpy. Check that out. And that. How's that looking?
Pretty good. And the
Voila. Look at that. Look good?
Beautiful. It's 8.
You can have that one if you like.
Thanks.